Okay, here we have a racing game that AI created in not one shot this time. It took several iterations, as you can see, through the entire back and forth I had with the AI here. But it eventually created a 3D racing game, which is pretty good. And I only had to change the code one time. So I think that is pretty fantastic, considering all the difficulties you have to deal with this thing. Also the graphics, I've noticed in the last few, look at the font it's using and the gradient across the title here. It clearly has an awareness of what type of aesthetics go with what you are creating. Enough waffling from me. Let's show you how it works. If we click start, you have your little racer, and there are a couple of other creations that I had to very hard to control, but you know, that's probably user input rather than or user lack of skill rather than the AI. And you can see here, we've got the number of laps in the top corner. We've got this track, it created all by itself. It created the cars. I had to ask it for the minimap, which is pretty cool that it was able to do, and it tracks not perfectly on the actual road, but it does track you where each player or car is on the track, which is very useful. You know, kind of like in Mario Kart, they have that. And you drive around, and we've got a couple of other AIs that you can run into, and then after lap 3 it finishes and you can go again. Originally that start finish line was in a corner, which was very difficult. It actually had a tunnel over the whole thing I had to get rid of. The start finish line was underneath the actual road, so I had to move it up, and that was the one bit of code I changed. And the cool thing about with Gemini is it maintained the code in the next iteration. That change I made in the code, it kept it in there. In previous AI models, had I done that, it would have regenerated with the old version of the code and I would have had to re-edit the code. But now, having the new version, it maintains its changes to the variables in the code, and that I thought was very cool. I haven't extensively changed the code. It was one variable, but I would assume that it would maintain any changes you create, and that is cool. I did have to make the AI cars slower, but now they're maybe too easy. And I could continue adding features here along this. You know, you could add boost things for overtaking and maybe some obstacles and turn it into a more Mario Kart type of thing. It's very fun though for what it has done, and it's all been rendered in the environment. If we look at the code, it is being created in React, which is what a lot of these things, every new thing I've tried to create in a 3D environment has created in React lately. I guess that's what it likes to do and imports 3GS. And so we have all the AI car here. This is the AI cars driving around. I haven't really digged much into the code for these. Then you have our own car, and just given the positions of the different parts of the car, we have the body, the head, the wings, and the wheels. In the AI car, there must be some more than just that, but the physics here, I asked it to not just have the cars run around at a constant speed, but accelerate and deaccelerate. You brake into the corners and then accelerate out of the corners, and that happened in here, which it did very well, in fact. I also added in collision detection, or I asked it to add in collision detection, and it works like maybe 50-50, but you know, if I'm sure I could continue to edit or prompt it to get that to work correctly, but the general idea is close enough. And for something, you know, I spend a few minutes on creating, it is, well, prompting. It's not, I don't think this is really creation anymore. It's just let the AI do it. And that's a kind of a new cool thing as well. It added in a radio box. I don't know if you saw that in the track. I don't know if you saw it when you're actually racing along, and if you cross the finish line or you have other things to go, it sends you radio messages just like in actual, here you go, copy, one more lap to go, push now, just like in actual F1, which is kind of fun to think about, you know, a mini collision there. last lap, head down, everything you've got. And I think that is kind of cool, it's taking it from an actual F1. But yeah, that is the F1 game that Gemini created. It did require multiple prompting, not one shot in, but really, there's so few mistakes now, and the difficulties that I had just a year ago in having to make AIs and force them to do what you want to do, they've gotten so much better. It is phenomenal that I didn't really have any headaches with doing this, though there's a few parts back and forward that I never had to bang my head across the desk and give up in frustration. Now that's not to say it's perfect, and there have been things I've tried to do. I tried to simulate a black hole, for example, and it couldn't quite handle that, and I gave up on that one in frustration. But that's maybe more a limitation of it rather than it constantly finding bugs and running into dead ends, which it used to do in all the coding parts, and also then making up stuff and not remembering what it had already coded and changing languages, changing into a different language. You have none of that anymore. The difficulties and that it used to, and all the issues it used to have seemed to be so much smoother now in creating these things. And this is a complex thing to create. So very, very impressed. Every time I do a new thing, I'm always impressed. Oh, there's a bug. I'm flying. But yeah, anyway, that will do for today.